How I turn this bow quilt design into a project you can do in one day. I spend my night scrolling Pinterest, so that's where I saw this quilt, and then I just sketched out a grid on my notepad. Following that design from the quilt, I just colored in squares on that grid, so then I made the bow pattern. The pink squares I sketched will represent the solid fabric here, and then the striped fabric will be the background. So I cut out all the squares I need, and then for certain squares that I needed to sew together because it has to be half solid and half striped, I just made a bunch of those half and half squares. I started the quilting process as you'll see here. I just stitched a bunch of the squares together, pressed open, seamed, stitched more together, pressed more, and then it started to slowly come together and actually look like the bow print. Once the pattern for the front of the hot pad is complete, I just gave everything a really good press and make sure all the seams are pressed open and flat. I then sewed a border around the front. I'm kind of making it up as I go along, but then I cut the pieces for the back. There will be a back pocket and a hang tag. Then I also cut out the background piece, so the pocket will lay over that for you to put your hand inside. I also cut out 2 layers of cotton batting. It has to be specific batting because otherwise it will just melt if you put heat on it. I laid everything out and then started quilting. So for the back, I just followed the stripes and did straight stitching. On the front, I used some of the existing seams to stitch in the ditch. I attached the hang tag to the front, and once everything was quilted, I gave it a trim around the edges to even it out, pinned right sides together, and stitched around the border, leaving an opening to turn it right side out. This is when I start to realize, I think I made this too thick. So next time, I would try eliminating the back pocket and maybe even doing 1 layer of batting, because as you can see, I broke a needle. And it was so freaking thick that my top stitching turned out a little wonky, so the perfectionist in me does not love that, but that's okay. It still came out cute, and it's a quick and easy project.